Maya had always been different from other kids. While her friends played video games, she spent nights on her roof looking at stars through an old telescope her grandfather gave her. Now, at 28, she worked at the biggest radio telescope in the country. Her job was simple: listen to sounds from space and look for patterns that might mean something important. It was a cold Tuesday night in October. Maya was alone in the control room, drinking her fourth cup of coffee and staring at computer screens full of wavy lines. These lines showed radio signals coming from deep space. Most of the time, it was just noise, like static on an old radio. But Maya loved her work because she knew that one day, one of those lines might be something special. Around 2 in the morning, something strange happened. The usual random patterns on her screen suddenly changed. The waves became smoother, almost like they were following a rhythm. Maya leaned forward, rubbing her tired eyes. She had seen weird signals before, but this felt different. As she adjusted the settings to get a clearer picture, a warm feeling spread through her chest. It was like someone had just given her a gentle hug from the inside. Maya stopped typing and looked around the empty room. The feeling was so real, so comforting, that she expected to see someone standing behind her, but she was completely alone. Maya shook her head and went back to work. Maybe she was just tired. She had been working long hours for weeks, and her boss kept telling her to take a break. But as she focused on the strange signal, the warm feeling came back, stronger this time. Then something incredible happened. Maya started thinking about her childhood dog, Buddy, who had died when she was 12. She remembered how scared she used to get during thunderstorms, and how Buddy would always come to her room and curl up next to her bed. As this memory played in her mind, she felt the exact same comfort she used to feel with Buddy nearby. This was impossible. Maya was a scientist. She believed in facts and proof, not in feelings that came from nowhere. But the comfort was so real, so specific to her own memories, that she couldn't ignore it. Over the next hour, Maya noticed something even stranger. Every time she thought about something emotional, she felt a response. When she remembered her grandmother's apple pie, she felt warm happiness. When she thought about her fear of being alone forever, she felt gentle understanding, like someone was saying, "I know exactly how you feel." Maya started to test this weird connection. She thought about her biggest dream, traveling to other planets and meeting life from other worlds. Immediately, her mind filled with images that definitely weren't her own memories. She saw purple skies, cities made of crystal, and strange, beautiful creatures moving through landscapes that looked nothing like Earth. The images were so clear and detailed that Maya gasped out loud. She could almost smell the alien air and feel the ground of another world under her feet. But the most amazing part wasn't the images. It was the emotions that came with them. She felt joy, curiosity, and something that could only be described as cosmic loneliness. Someone or something was sharing these feelings with her, and that someone felt just as alone in the universe as she did. Maya spent the rest of her shift in a daze. Every few minutes, she would feel that gentle presence in her mind. It never felt scary or invasive. Instead, it felt like having a friend who understood her better than she understood herself. When she felt hungry, she sensed confusion from the presence, as if it was trying to figure out what human hunger felt like. When she felt excited about a new discovery in her data, she felt that excitement doubled back to her. By morning, Maya knew she wasn't imagining things. Something real was happening to her, something that would change everything she thought she knew about life in the universe. As the sun came up and her replacement arrived for the day shift, Maya gathered her things with shaking hands. She had always hoped to find proof of life beyond Earth, but she never expected it to find her first. And she definitely never expected it to feel so much like coming home. Walking to her car, Maya looked up at the morning sky. The stars were fading as daylight took over, but she could still feel that gentle presence in her mind. It felt patient, curious, and somehow happy. For the first time in years, Maya didn't feel alone. She didn't know what this connection meant or where it would lead. All she knew was that her life had just become the most interesting science experiment ever. And unlike her usual research, this time she wasn't just the observer. She was part of the discovery itself. That night, Maya couldn't sleep. She lay in bed, thinking about everything that had happened. Was she losing her mind? Was this some kind of stress reaction from working too much? But deep down, she knew this was real. The presence she felt was too specific, too responsive to be her imagination. As she finally drifted off to sleep, Maya felt one last, gentle touch in her mind. It felt like someone saying good night from very far away. She smiled and whispered to her empty room. "Good night to you too, whoever you are." Maya had no idea that her life had just become the most important story in human history. She also didn't know that somewhere among the stars, another being was lying down to rest, thinking about the strange, wonderful human who had somehow found a way into its heart. Maya woke up the next morning wondering if everything had been a dream. But as she brushed her teeth, that familiar warm feeling touched her mind again. It was gentle, like a cat rubbing against her leg, but happening inside her thoughts instead of outside her body. This time, Maya was ready for it. Instead of being scared, she decided to treat this like any other scientific problem. She grabbed a notebook and started writing down everything that happened: time, feelings, what she was thinking about when the connection occurred. If this was real, she would document it properly. Over the next few days, Maya discovered something amazing. The presence in her mind didn't speak with words. Instead, it communicated through pure feelings and sensations. When Maya felt sad about missing her parents, who lived far away, the presence responded with a warmth that reminded her of her mother's hugs. When she got excited about finding an interesting signal at work, she felt that excitement bounce back, to her doubled in strength. The breakthrough came on Friday night. Maya was at home, craving pizza after a long day. As she thought about gooey cheese and crispy crust, she suddenly felt the strangest sensation. It was like someone was trying to understand what delicious meant without ever having tasted food. The presence seemed confused but curious, like a child encountering something completely new. Maya laughed out loud. "You don't know what food tastes like, do you?" she said to her empty living room. The response was immediate, a feeling of agreement mixed with fascination. Maya realized she was communicating with something that had never experienced physical sensations the way humans do. This discovery changed everything. Maya started experimenting, thinking about different human experiences and feeling the presence try to understand them. When she thought about the smell of rain, she felt curiosity. When she remembered the pain of stubbing her toe last week, she felt sympathy mixed with confusion about why humans were so fragile. But the most incredible moment came when Maya thought about her biggest dream: traveling through space and seeing other worlds. Suddenly, her mind exploded with memories that weren't her own. She saw vast ships moving between stars, like dolphins swimming through an ocean of light. She felt the joy of discovering new planets, the sadness of finding worlds where life had died out, and the endless wonder of exploring the galaxy. These weren't her memories, but somehow she experienced them as if they were. Maya realized she was connected to a being that had actually traveled among the stars, seen things she could only dream about. That night, Maya started thinking of the presence as Echo, because it seemed to reflect her emotions back to her. But, as days passed, she realized Echo wasn't just copying her feelings. It was adding its own experiences to hers, creating something new. When Maya felt lonely, Echo didn't just comfort her. It shared its own form of loneliness, the isolation of being one of the few of its kind who could connect with other minds, across space. When Maya felt wonder at the beauty of a sunset, Echo added its memory of watching twin suns set over an alien ocean. Maya learned that Echo's people experienced life very differently from humans. They didn't have individual bodies the way humans do. Instead, they existed as pure consciousness, able to flow between different forms and connect with each other's minds naturally. To them, the walls between self and others were just suggestions, not solid barriers. But Maya was the first human Echo had ever been able to truly connect with. Most human minds were too closed off, too focused on individual thoughts. Maya's mind, shaped by years of listening for signals from space, was somehow open in a way that allowed Echo to slip in. The connection grew stronger each day. Maya found herself becoming more aware of other people's emotions. She could sense when her co-worker Tom was having a bad day before he said anything. She knew when her neighbor was feeling sick just by walking past their apartment. It was like Echo's empathic abilities were slowly becoming part of her own mind. But Maya also noticed she was changing Echo. The alien consciousness had spent thousands of years observing other species from a distance, understanding them as groups rather than individuals. Through Maya, Echo was learning what it meant to be a single person with unique thoughts, fears, and dreams. One evening, as Maya sat on her roof looking at stars, she felt Echo's presence more clearly than ever before. This time, instead of just sharing emotions, they seemed to share thoughts directly. Maya understood that Echo had been searching the galaxy for something it had never been able to name. Now, through their connection, it realized what it had been looking for, not just contact with another species, but true understanding between two different forms of consciousness. Maya smiled at the stars. "You were looking for a friend, weren't you?" she thought. The response came as a feeling of recognition so strong it brought tears to her eyes. Yes, Echo had been looking for a friend. Someone who could appreciate both the vastness of space and the small, precious moments that made life meaningful. As Maya went to bed that night, she realized their connection had become something neither of them expected. It wasn't just first contact between human and alien anymore. It was the beginning of the deepest friendship in the history of the galaxy. But Maya also sensed that Echo was holding something back, some important information it hadn't shared yet. She drifted off to sleep, wondering what secrets her cosmic friend was keeping, and whether she was ready to learn the truth about why their connection was possible. The answer would come soon enough, and it would change not just Maya's life, but potentially the future of both their species. The truth came to Maya on a rainy Monday morning, 6 weeks after her first contact with Echo. She was sitting at her desk, analyzing data from the night shift, when suddenly her mind filled with images that made her drop her coffee cup. She saw massive ships, beautiful and silver, moving through space toward a small blue planet, Earth. Echo's people were coming, and they had been planning this journey for years. Maya's hands shook as she felt Echo's reluctance to share this information. Through their connection, she understood everything at once. Echo's species had been watching Earth for decades, waiting for the right moment to make contact. They needed someone who could bridge the gap between human and alien consciousness, someone who could help both species understand each other. That someone was Maya. But the process wouldn't be simple. Echo showed her what would need to happen. Maya would have to undergo a transformation that would enhance her telepathic abilities permanently. Her brain would be changed at a fundamental level, allowing her to communicate directly with Echo's people and serve as humanity's first ambassador to the stars. The offer was everything Maya had ever dreamed of. She would get to travel among the stars, explore worlds beyond imagination, and be part of the most important moment in human history. She would never be alone again, surrounded by beings who could share thoughts and emotions as naturally as humans shared words. But as Echo revealed more details, Maya realized what she would have to give up. The transformation would change her, so completely that she might not be able to relate to other humans anymore. She would become something between human and alien, belonging fully to neither world. Maya spent the next 3 days in turmoil. She couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't focus on her work. Echo felt every moment of her internal struggle, experiencing her confusion and fear as if they were its own emotions. The hardest part was thinking about her family. Her younger sister, Lisa, who called her every Sunday to share gossip and ask for advice. Her elderly grandmother, who still sent her birthday cards with $20 bills inside. Her co-workers, who had become like a second family over the years. If Maya accepted Echo's offer, she would have to leave all of them behind, possibly forever. Maya tried to imagine explaining to Lisa that she was going away with aliens and might never come back. She pictured her grandmother waiting for phone calls that would never come. The thought broke her heart, and through their connection, Echo felt that heartbreak as intensely as she did. For the first time since they had connected, Echo began to understand what humans meant by sacrifice. It felt Maya's love for her sister, experienced her attachment to Earth's simple pleasures like morning coffee and sunset walks. It began to question whether asking Maya to give up her humanity was truly an act of love or a form of cosmic selfishness. The crisis deepened when Maya's enhanced telepathic abilities started manifesting in public. During a team meeting, she accidentally heard her supervisor's thoughts about budget cuts and layoffs. At the grocery store, she found herself knowing things about strangers, their worries, their joys, their secrets. The elderly cashier was worried about her grandson. The young mother in line was celebrating a promotion at work. Maya realized she was losing control of her human boundaries. The line between her thoughts and others' thoughts was becoming blurry. Even worse, her sister. Lisa noticed during their weekly phone call that Maya seemed to know things about her life that she had never mentioned. "How did you know I was thinking about changing jobs?" Lisa asked, confused. "I haven't told anyone about that yet." Maya made up an excuse, but she knew she was running out of time. Either she had to accept Echo's offer and complete the transformation, or she had to find a way to control these new abilities before they exposed her secret to the world. Echo felt Maya's growing panic and desperation. It experienced her fear of losing her humanity, but also her terror of losing their connection. Maya couldn't imagine going back to the loneliness she had felt before Echo entered her life. Yet she also couldn't imagine becoming something that was no longer truly human. One night, as Maya lay awake staring at the ceiling, she felt Echo's presence more clearly than ever before. But instead of the usual comfort, she sensed something new, Echo's own fear. The alien consciousness was afraid too. It had never cared about an individual being the way it cared about Maya. The thought of losing her either through the transformation or through severing their connection, filled Echo with a loneliness deeper than anything it had felt in thousands of years. Maya realized that they were both facing the same impossible choice. Stay connected and risk losing what made them who they were, or protect their individual identities and lose each other forever. As she felt Echo's love and fear mixing with her own, Maya began to wonder if there might be a third option. Something neither of them had considered. A way to honor both their connection and their authentic selves. But time was running out. Echo's people would arrive soon, and they would expect an answer. Maya knew that whatever decision she made would change not just her own life, but potentially the future of both species. The weight of that responsibility was almost too much to bear. But as she felt Echo's gentle presence in her mind, Maya realized she wasn't carrying this burden alone. Whatever choice they made, they would make it together. The question was whether their love was strong enough to find a solution that honored both connection and individuality, or whether some choices were too big for even the deepest bond to overcome. Maya's decision came to her in the quiet moments before dawn, exactly 2 months after her first contact with Echo. She was sitting on her roof, wrapped in a blanket, watching the stars fade as the sun began to rise. Echo's presence was calm, beside her in her mind, waiting patiently for whatever choice she would make. But Maya surprised them both. "What if we're thinking about this all wrong?" she said softly to the morning sky. Through their connection, she felt Echo's curiosity. Maya had spent sleepless nights wrestling with the impossible choice between transformation and separation. But as she watched the sunrise paint the world in gentle colors, she realized there was something both she and Echo had missed. Their connection had taught them both so much about love, understanding, and growth. Why couldn't they use those lessons to find a better way? True love isn't about possession, Maya thought, directing her words to Echo. It's about helping each other become the best versions of ourselves. She felt Echo's confusion, so Maya continued, her thoughts becoming clearer with each moment. "You want me to transform so we can stay connected. But what if instead of changing me to fit your world, we work together to help our worlds understand each other?" The idea that formed in Maya's mind was bold and risky, but it felt right in a way that made her heart race with excitement. Instead of serving as a transformed ambassador who belonged to neither world, Maya would remain fully human while becoming a bridge between species. She would help Echo's people understand humanity's unique gifts, individuality, creativity, the beauty found in temporary moments and personal growth. In return, Echo could teach humans about cosmic consciousness, empathic connection, and their place in the larger galaxy. Both species could grow and learn without either having to sacrifice their essential nature. Echo was quiet for a long moment, processing this new possibility. Maya felt its initial resistance, the fear of losing the deep connection they shared, the worry that maintaining distance might mean losing each other entirely. But as Echo absorbed Maya's certainty and peace with her decision, something beautiful happened. The alien consciousness began to understand a uniquely human truth that it had never encountered before. Sometimes the deepest love requires letting go of what we want most in order to give someone the freedom to be who they truly are. Maya felt the moment when Echo truly understood. It was like watching a flower bloom inside her mind. Echo realized that their connection had become more beautiful, not less, as they had both remained true to their essential selves. Maya's humanity had taught Echo about individual identity and personal growth. Echo's cosmic perspective had helped Maya see the spiritual connections that linked all consciousness. "You're right," Maya felt Echo's response, warm with wonder and a new kind of love. The most beautiful connections honor both unity and individuality. Over the following weeks, Maya and Echo worked together to prepare for first contact in a completely new way. Instead of Maya becoming something between human and alien, she would remain herself while serving as a cultural translator. She would help Echo's people understand human emotions, creativity, and the value of individual experience. Echo returned to its people with a profound understanding of human consciousness that none of them had possessed before. It shared Maya's memories of family love, artistic creation, personal sacrifice, and the way humans found meaning in temporary moments. For the first time, Echo's species began to see Earth's inhabitants not as a collective to be studied, but as billions of unique individuals, each with their own story worth understanding. The first official contact happened on a clear Tuesday evening, 6 months after Maya had first felt Echo's presence. She stood in an open field outside the city, surrounded by government officials and scientists, but her attention was focused on the silver ship descending from the stars. As Echo's people emerged from their vessel, Maya felt their curiosity and wonder through her connection with Echo. They had come not as conquerors or even as teachers, but as fellow consciousness seeking to understand and be understood. Maya served as the first translator between worlds, helping humans understand that these beings meant no harm, and helping the aliens appreciate human concerns about independence and cultural preservation. It wasn't always easy. Both species had fears and misunderstandings to overcome. But Maya's unique position as someone who remained human while truly understanding alien consciousness made dialogue possible. The most amazing part was that Maya's connection with Echo didn't weaken as she had feared. Instead, it transformed into something even more beautiful. No longer the overwhelming merger it had once been, their bond became a gentle, ongoing conversation between two beings who had chosen to love each other while remaining true to themselves. Maya continued her work at the observatory, now serving as humanity's first official ambassador to the stars. She helped establish exchange programs where humans could learn about cosmic consciousness while aliens learned about individual creativity and personal growth. Neither species had to change their fundamental nature, but both grew richer through understanding. 1 year after first contact, Maya found herself back on her roof, looking at the stars. But now she wasn't alone in the old way, isolated and longing for connection. And she wasn't merged with Echo in a way that would have cost her humanity. Instead, she felt perfectly herself while being part of something larger. Echo's presence in her mind was like having a best friend who lived among the stars but never forgot to call. Their love had become proof that the deepest connections don't require sacrifice of self, but rather the courage to remain authentic while opening your heart to infinite possibilities. As Maya watched a shooting star streak across the sky, she felt Echo's gentle laughter in her mind. "Thank you," she whispered to the stars, "for teaching me that love and individuality can coexist beautifully." Echo's response came as a feeling of gratitude so deep it brought tears to her eyes. Through Maya, it had learned that the most profound relationships don't diminish either person involved, but help both become more fully themselves. Maya smiled, knowing that her story was really just the beginning. Across the galaxy, other connections were forming between species who had learned that unity and diversity could dance together in perfect harmony. The universe had become a more beautiful place, not through conquest or transformation, but through the simple radical act of choosing to understand each other while remaining wonderfully, authentically themselves.